All right, everybody. It's conference championship weekend here. I guess the second best weekend of the year in terms of NFL. I think maybe it's the third best.
The Super Bowl's pretty good.
Wild card and divisional are probably the better weekends, honestly, if we're being honest. But
the Super Bowl's pretty good, though.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's all right.
Listen.
Super Bowl, it's obviously circled and everything like that. But when's the last legendary Super Bowl you've seen in recent years? That was holy crap, this Super Bowl.
Last year was pretty good.
What was it?
Chiefs, Eagles.
Okay, yeah, that was pretty good. But then the fourth quarter just kind of went away. But either way, it's just I like the conference weekend, but I think the divisional and the wild card are overall a better viewing experience because obviously there's more games, there's more at stake and everything like that. So, but yeah, nonetheless, here we are at conference championship weekend, and we feel like a little bit of a horse's patoot after last week.
Yep.
Must say. Although there was a little bit of bad luck, but nonetheless, not a great week for the Bettor In-Laws podcast.
No.
Both of us went 1-3, and we're not going to spend too much time on it because everybody's really turned the page at this point. And again, we're recording a day later, like we said last week. Due to scheduling issues, we are recording on Thursday afternoon. So everybody's really turned the page on Divisional Weekend. But nonetheless, why don't you just give us a brief recap of our shitty weekend?
Recap's pretty easy because we had the same picks. 1-3. Bills lost. Texans lost. Niners lost. Lions win. So that was it. Your best bet was the Bills. That was a disgusting end, though. If Tyler Bass made that field goal, I had no doubt that Patrick Mahomes was going down the field and getting 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't even everybody knew the kicker was going to miss it, and none of the blame should be placed on him. I mean, all the blame, and it's just been, again, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but to reiterate, all of the blame should be placed on the play calling, the coaching, and Josh Allen.
I disagree with the Allen take. I think I don't put any blame really on him. Very little.
Oh, I do.
Very little. Stephon Diggs catch the ball.
There was some tight butthole there.
I'd argue this till
tight
blue
butt
in the
cheeks
face.
on Josh Allen a little bit. That throw, elite throw.
It's not
legendary.
It's not even that play. The guy just disappeared for the back half of the season. All he does is run his mouth about why he needs the ball. He's a diva player.
Diggs a clown right at this point.
Yeah,
I mean,
catch the ball.
He's cooked and he doesn't want to admit it. Pretty much. I mean, you got to catch that ball. But after that throw, that's when you saw some tight butt cheeks from Josh Allen. Hence the Shakir throw over the middle, wide open, could not be more open, and he underthrew him.
Yeah, and 3rd and 9, how about get the first down? That's blamable on Allen.
How about, you're under 2 minutes, Patrick Mahomes is on the other side of the ball. How about you, I don't know, run the ball?
James Cook. Can we talk about this? This is one thing I do want to recap.
I'm not even talking about James Cook. I'm talking about Josh Allen.
Stiff.
Because James Cook could not run at that point. No. He was done. They figured him out. They stuffed him every time. But if you're Josh Allen, you were running, what do you have, 72 yards on the Chiefs, something like that?
Get the ball to Dalton Kincaid. What were you doing?
Yeah, that too. They took him off the field. It was infuriating. That should have hit, man. That really, if that was just called differently, that should have. And then you have everybody chirp and be like, oh, the Bills are going to win, huh? Well, going against Mahomes. I was just all right, man.
You knew
what have we
specific people doing
What have we seen all year?
Yeah.
What have we seen all year? The Chiefs mightily struggling. And yeah, I understand it's a playoff time, but I went with the harder team. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I was there too. It was a... What are you going to do? What are you going to do? If the Bills were ever going to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, it was a Sunday. And now I have no faith they'll ever beat them. So that was a loss. That was best bet loss. So for you, my best bet loss was the Niners -9.
And that Niners won. I mean, obviously, if Debo doesn't get hurt that early, I think it's a completely different story, don't you?
I don't say this as a fan. When he got hurt, I was like, oh boy. And the first 3 plays of the game was, we came in last week and you asked me, I remember specifically, who's getting the ball in
that
this
was a
game.
Debo
I said
game.
CMC and Debo.
That was a Debo game.
Every game's a CMC game. So let's just chalk that to CMC. Okay, he's getting his touches. He'll have his. Who else is it? Debo, Kittle, Ayuk? And I said...
It was Debo.
It's Debo. Mm-hmm. Because the way this defense is, it's a Debo game. And it's the playoffs, and this is where they step up and they use Debo. First 3 plays from scrimmage tuck, 5-yard run McCaffrey, 9-yard run to Samuel, 11-yard pass play. Yeah. I mean, they were the first 3 plays, they were going right down the field, and he gets hurt. So, anytime I see that in a Debo game, I get real worried. Real worried as a fan, like not even just to cover.
Well, yeah, because they had to bail on their game plan completely.
Yeah, it's
and
night
they had
and
to
day.
figure it out. They had to figure it out as they went,
Which is not
which they did,
to
but
the-
it took a while.
Not to their strength, though. They usually don't, which is
Right.
why I get worried. We'll talk about that when we get to the Niners this week. But loss for me there. So 1-3 for each of us, evening us in the playoffs to 4-4 and 1-1 on our best bets for the season. 49-43-1 for you. 6-14 best bets. 49-42-2 for me. 16-4 best bets. But today, Tuck. With championship weekend, we have just 2 games, but we decided with props coming out a little bit earlier that we'd mix some props in there. So best bets are on sides, totals, props, whatever we want to give you guys. So we're going to give out 4 plays again, even though it's 2 games. So we hope that you like this mix-up of the show.
Well, I'm pretty excited about these props that we have, and yeah, like you said, take advantage of the early release on said props. I actually placed a couple on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, they came out early.
And they're trending in my direction, which is great.
That's nice. It's good for me.
Yeah. So before we move ahead to the conference championships, if you haven't done so already, give us a follow on all of our socials, please. And please like us on YouTube, this specific video. Every time, please do that. And give us a 5-star review and a quick comment or blurb on Apple Podcasts and the like. Nobody's left a comment besides like one person on Apple, mind you. So every time I say that, you pricks don't listen.
Maybe.
So just get on there and leave a quick, how do you do?
How you doing?
On Apple, because it helps. Again, it helps.
Yeah, appreciate that.
All right. Any final thoughts on divisional before we move ahead to the conference championship? Because I'm ready to turn the page.
I will say one thing.
Oh,
I had some people chirping me about the best bet. I don't know if it's because I selected the Niners, but I still feel strong. I felt unlucky with the Debo injury. That said,
I'm sorry.
16-4 is still 80%.
By the way, what's that on your sweatshirt?
Oh, this is the best sweatshirt ever made. It's a Tecmo Bowl. Best for the camera. Tecmo Bowl 49ers hoodie. Listen, they made it NFC Championship.
I noticed that you wear apparel on special occasions.
And here I am. It's the NFC Championship. We're back, and we'll get to this game, Tuck, second, because it's second on Sunday. I will give you what I feel there. Might go contrarian. I might go contrarian. Stay tuned. I might not.
So okay, I've never really played.
Tecmo Bowl is the greatest
way.
video game ever made. So I get it. Everyone's like PS5 and
The
all these
greatest
crazy-
video game ever made.
Yeah, hands
No.
down, not even close.
We stop.
Tecmo Bowl.
Have you played like anything in the last 30 years?
Yeah. So
Have you played Red Dead Redemption 2?
Let's talk. Well, we can't. You
GTA?
can't really compare and contrast.
Are you talking about sports
Yeah, let's
games?
go sports.
Okay,
games.
sports
It's
games.
better than Madden. Madden hasn't changed since the Nintendo was
no,
out.
Stop. Madden 2000.
Terrible.
Madden 2003 is probably the best football game of all time.
Yeah, and they haven't changed.
Is
it
that the
since.
one with Marshall? No, I agree with that. I stopped buying it.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that the one with Marshall Falk on it? Whatever that one was, between the gameplay,
Yeah, it was good.
the soundtrack.
Yeah, no, Vic was pretty
Holy-
good. 2004.
The Vic one was good. Yeah, whatever the one with Marshall Falk is my favorite.
Listen,
Madden.
early day Tecmo Bowl though, legendary sports game.
I don't
mean,
think
it was
I've
just
played
fun.
it.
It's so fun.
I reckon
And 4 plays, 8 plays in Super Tecmo Bowl, big step up.
I mean, I was born in '88.
Yeah,
This was '89.
Yep.
Maybe I've played it. I don't know.
I don't know.
But the best sports game of all time is MVP 2005.
It's
not even a question.
That's one of the greatest games ever.
Yeah,
Let's just
that
say
when
that.
baseball was fun
Yeah,
and Hall of Famer was on a cover. Oh wait, he wasn't a Hall of Famer. Manny Ramirez.
ridiculous.
First game 3:30 or 3:06.
306. 306, and don't be late.
Excuse me,
Don't be late.
3:06. We have the Kansas City Chiefs going to the Baltimore Ravens. We are seeing some movement today. There's still some 3.5s out there, but I am seeing this move to 4. And we have a like and a best bet here. It's a like for me, and it's your best bet.
Sure is.
Why don't you take it away then?
All right, let's go. Best bet to start the show. This is fun and unique.
But
I
it's
don't
the
think we've
first
ever
game.
think that's happened.
It's
right,
the
no,
first
I know.
game. We're
Love
going to
it.
get right into it.
We're diving in. We lost last week. We're bouncing back this week. And I am once again fading Patrick Mahomes. You can give me the Baltimore Ravens minus 3.5 at home. Sunday, 3:06. Don't be late. Have the bet in, all right? And bet soon because it's going up. And it might come back. You know, the Patrick Mahomes public's going to come in, and they're going to love Pat Mahomes with the points. Oh, my God, Pat Mahomes. How do we bet against Pat Mahomes in the playoffs? He doesn't lose in the playoffs. No. You bet against Patrick Mahomes because this Chiefs team is still not that good. And the reason the Chiefs won last week, despite Buffalo choking on themselves, we'll say it nicely, that was more about Buffalo. I'm sorry. It was more about Buffalo than it was Kansas City. The defense of the Bills was just too banged up in the end to stop them, and they decided to not cover Travis Kelce. By the way, Travis Kelce did a little hard to Taylor Swift. Aren't you so cute, you loser? Wait till you retire like your brother. So, not only is Kansas City the most unlikable franchise right now, we do have the Ravens, who I also really don't like at all, but, you know, you got to pick one here. And the Ravens have been the best team in the AFC. You know, I've been preaching on the Bills the last few weeks. I thought they were going to get hot. They did get hot. We called it right. Thought that they could keep a run. They were too banged up to keep going. So you got to admit, though, Baltimore's been the best team in the AFC, if not the NFL, in at least the last back half of the year. They've been on a run. And Lamar's biggest question last week, and is why we faded him, is can he do it in the playoffs? He was 1-3 as a playoff quarterback. You know, terrible record laying over a touchdown in the playoffs. He doesn't even really have a great record laying 3 or more, so a little hesitation there. I think the public's going to see those things. They're going to see Patrick Mahomes getting points. But I'm on the Ravens because, simply put, they're the better team. I make the game 4.5, so I'm taking the Ravens here. It's under that number. I'm trusting my numbers. And look, I just think in this game, there's areas where the Chiefs beat the Bills last week that they're not going to beat the Ravens. Specifically, let's talk special teams. Baltimore is one of the best special teams units in the NFL. In tight games like this, playoff games, close games, give me the better special teams team. I think it's so underrated because you're going to see, I think the line's, 44.5 or something here for points? Is that right?
40,
so
44.5.
I think it's about right, Tuck. So I don't think, if we even get there. So, I think when you're talking about a game like this, I think the defenses are two of the better defenses in the NFL. I think the Ravens are probably the best, to be honest. And the Ravens' defense on top of special teams, they're not one-dimensional, right? They can stop you. And here's the thing. I think they're going to line up Kyle Hamilton one-on-one with Travis Kelce and say, okay, let's see what you got.
They're solid against opposing tight ends.
Yep.
I think they're second in the league.
Second in the league. Yeah. And it's Kyle Hamilton. He's so versatile in the way that he plays. He was a stud at Notre Dame. I couldn't believe he fell to the Ravens in the draft, and he's just
I knew there was a reason you liked him.
Star, but he's a star. I mean, he's an absolute ball hawk.
Notre Dame.
He's always been a ball hawk. I mean, look at the guy. He's awesome. He will lock up Kelce, and Kelce will be limited in what he does. And guess what? That goes right back to the Chiefs. How are we moving the ball?
Yeah.
Are we going to commit to the run with Pacheco? Even the Chiefs last week avoided Pacheco a little bit. They kind of went rogue on him, and that's when they started to stutter, right? If the Bills had the guys to cover Kelce in that game, we wouldn't have had – that would not have been a close game. The Ravens, they're going to cover Kelce. Rashee Rice, they have the cornerbacks to keep him maintained. I still think we talk about him weekly, like what I'm seeing out of him as a rookie. At this point, not a rookie anymore. You played long enough, and he's playing really well, so good for him. But you need more than a couple of pieces on offense to beat this Baltimore team. Give me the defense here that I think dominates this game. I think Lamar gets his, does enough. Lower scoring game, but I still lay the 3.5 at home with the Ravens. It's your take.
Yeah, and I'll talk about the lower scoring coming up here. But I think it's as simple as this is a legacy game for Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
He, is obviously in the MVP conversation, but I still feel like there's this thing of not getting him into that next elite group of quarterbacks amongst the public, at least. I think, weekly watchers like you and me have him in that category. But in terms of the public, maybe they don't really put him in with the Mahomes, the Josh Allens, the Joe Burrows of the world. And I think this is a big statement game for Lamar Jackson. And I'm pretty sure that he's tired about hearing his playoff performance and his playoff record. Last week was a massive win for the Ravens versus the Texans. Things got dicey there in the first half. They went into the half tied at 10, and then they completely blew doors in the second half. Not so much because of their offense, but because their defense really stifled the Texans' offense and really led to fatigue on the Texans' defensive side of things, which resulted in success for the Baltimore's offense there. I mean, this is a Texans offense that were fresh off of scoring 45 points against the Browns.
Yeah.
The week prior. You know, the Browns are top 5 defense, if you ask me, too. And they didn't reach the red zone against Baltimore last week.
Nope.
Yeah, that's
3 points. Yeah, the kick return. The punt return,
the punt return. Yeah, that's right. So they did not reach the red zone against the Baltimore Ravens. Another wrinkle of this is, you know, like you mentioned earlier, this Chiefs team. I understand the whole Mahomes and Reed thing, and, you know, you can't just brush them off, obviously, given their success. I'm not. But the overall team, you know, last week they faced a very banged-up Bills defense. You know, A.J. Klein covering Travis Kelce last week, their third-string linebacker there. You know, and then you have the whole Bills choking element they have to mix in there. And we talked about, you know, the questionable play calling with the Bills. And then the week prior, they faced a Dolphins team that was banged up on offense. And they played in freezing conditions and were completely unprepared.
Yep. So
there's been a little bit of luck in terms of the Chiefs, this playoff run at least.
Yep.
So I just think it's a big legacy game for Lamar Jackson. That defense is going to be in punch-you-in-the-mouth mode against this Chiefs team, especially at home. And again, this is only going to be the second playoff game for the Chiefs on the road. You know, key injury for the Chiefs, too. No Joe Tooney.
Yep, saw that.
All-pro offensive guard there. My only hesitation is that I'm getting the similar feeling of when I faded Brady and his Bucks run every playoff game.
I mean,
I was like, he can't do it again.
Bucks,
he can't do it again.
Pats.
Fade.
Yeah,
fade,
I get
fade,
it.
fade. And I have a similar feeling that I did of Brady that I do of Mahomes now.
Yeah, and totally reasonable, right? Like, that's the one fair, like, when I was making this my best bet versus a bet versus the non-play, like, whatever it is, for me, it is scary to bet against Mahomes, right? It is what it is. He is who he is in the playoffs. Yeah, he doesn't lose. He takes it to another level. Say what you want about the Bills' defense last week. I just said it. You said it. But, like, he still delivered. And, you know, he's the type of guy, like, you got to step on his neck to beat him, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is not – you can't let this team hang around. And if the Ravens let him hang around, I'm not going to feel good about this going into the fourth quarter. I'll say that.
So this is from Aaron Schatz, who is with he's an analytics officer at FTN Fantasy, pretty great follow on Twitter. And he's, you know, a big DVOA guy. Do you know what DVOA is? I'm not, like, totally into it, but I'm starting to learn a little bit about it. DVOA is a stat that measures a team's efficiency by comparing success on every single play to a league average based on situation and opponent. And I bring that up because the Ravens, they sport the highest weighted DVOA of any team post-divisional round since the metric was implemented, of 55.2%. And I think, like, the number 2 team was, like, in the low 40s, I want to say. The Ravens also now have the most wins over opponents with a winning record in the Super Bowl era, with 11. The 3 teams with 10-plus wins over winning teams all ended up winning the Super Bowl. Give me the Ravens, -3.5. I'm with you on the best bet, man. I don't want to do a double best bet, but I kind of do.
Yeah, I get it. This is their time, I think, to represent the AFC. They've just been the best team all year. Like,
is this also the year of the Harbaughs, by the way?
Yeah, you think?
You know, Harbaugh wins a championship. He's back in the NFL. You know, breaking news last night, and now John Harbaugh. Maybe it's his year to get a championship.
Yeah,
that'd be a pretty nice story heading into next year, don't you think, for the NFL?
Sure would. Oh, by the way, small little nugget that I forgot to mention: Mark Andrews is back.
Yeah,
just Lamar's best bud, and I don't think that means Isaiah Likely goes away.
No,
I think he's fully a part of the game plan too.
Yep.
We're going to see double tight end sets from them.
They're going to spread him out. They might throw him in the slot.
And you didn't see a lot of it before.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see it now, which is going to be something for KC that's not on tape. So I'm interested to see how they use that.
Yeah.
They have to play that to their advantage.
Absolutely great point. You're not going to see Isaiah Likely just resort to the bench because Andrews is back. He is still going to be a key pass catcher for that Ravens offense there. We are seeing 4s here. So what is your take on 4? If
4 is my
people
last play. I make the game 4.5. At that point,
okay,
back off.
But we are seeing 3.5, so we're giving out 3.5.
There's plenty of 3.5s. Yep,
Comfortable with 4 as well.
Caesars minus 3.5, minus 10. You know, there's a couple minus 12s, 15s, a couple 10s out there. So we're fine across the board.
All right, so
4's popping.
So there you go. Matt is, again, 16-4 on best bets this year. Best bet, Baltimore minus 3.5. It's also a like for me. Sticking with this matchup, I have a like as well on the total. Give me the under on this one, 44.5. Baltimore's defense is holding opponents to almost 9 fewer points per game than expected after taking into account the down, distance, and field position of each play. That's according to True Media. That's the second best mark in the NFL, including the playoffs. Ravens are also allowing a league low 1.3 points per drive, with a red zone defensive efficiency, Jesus,
That's a tough word.
Efficiency rate of 41%, second to only the Titans, and significantly better than the league average of 55%. And on the other side of it, with the Chiefs defense, you said it earlier, very solid defense. They hold opponents to almost 5 fewer points per game than expected, which ranks 5th in the league, and they are allowing 1.5 points per drive, which is 3rd, with a red zone defensive efficiency rate of 52%. So you have 2 very solid defenses here, and I think this is kind of a baity line in terms of the total. You're going to see, hey, this is Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes. There's going to be points, right? Well, I think it's going to be a defensive slug match.
I do too. I lean the under as well here.
This is a smash mouth defensive game here. Give me the under. I like this closer to like, I don't know, 42, something like that, 41,
low 40s,
42.
Low 40s.
So that is going to be my second like there. Anything else from this matchup, prop-wise, or anything that we may have missed on this one?
No, the other 3 plays for me are related to the Niners-Lions game. So, nope, nothing else here. Just I think we got a good game. I think we're going to have 2 good games overall, but I think this one's going to be something really good to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And one other thing that I kind of liked, I don't have it in front of me, the latest, but like what I've been seeing out of Justice Hill. He really seems to be the hot hand of that backfield, which has really been the approach for that Ravens offense. I don't have it in front. Oh, here it is. 33.5 rushing yards. I don't mind that, taking that over there, especially if we think that the Ravens are going to win, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. He has stepped up in a way that he has not played that way at all. But lately, he's been good. He's been the hot hand. So if you're looking for a running back prop, it's Justice Hill.
And we didn't see Dalvin Cook until the 4th quarter last week.
No, yeah.
That was just getting his feet wet in the offense. I don't know if we're going to see a ton of Dalvin Cook this week, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. Not a like for me, but just throwing it out there. Just a guy that I'll be playing in daily fantasy as well with his cheap salary.
Yep.
$4,800. All right, well, let's go ahead to the, what is it, the 6:06 game?
No, 6:30.
6:30.
That's just a normal 6:30 time.
Exactly 6:30?
Good call. I believe it better be. Hold on.
Well, whatever. Who gives a shit? It's the Lions
6:30
on the road in San Francisco. 6:38 kickoff. Taking on the Niners.
6:38?
6:38 p.m.
See, that 8 minutes is going to give me the most anxiety. Like, let's just kick.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We got to pay all the bills with the sponsors and the national anthem and everything like that. So these things takes time, Matthew.
God.
7.5 points. Niners are favored here. Seen that move today. It was 6.5, moved to 7.5 as of today, Thursday afternoon. Point total in this one is 51.5 here. So speaking of point total, why don't you give out your second like?
Yeah, I'm liking the total here. It's on the move, just like everything else we bet. The recording on Thursday really changed my card here for the show, but I still like this one. San Fran, Detroit over 51. I think we're going to see points in this game, man. I think looking at the weather forecast, beautiful day in San Francisco, beautiful winter day, and because of that, no rain, no bullshit like last week, no wet balls. But I really like the over here. In a good weather game, I think the Niners are going to score points. The Lions secondary is in big trouble in this game.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Not really breaking news because it's not official, but all signs are indicating towards Deebo Samuel actually playing. And Tuck, you and I were talking on, I think, Monday or maybe Sunday night, Monday, and you were like, what do you think the odds are of him playing? And I said, unlikely. If he has the same injury that he had against the Browns in the regular season, he missed a couple of weeks. So it was fearful. But I was also like in a dark place Sunday on with Deebo, and I was really worried about him. But
yeah.
things are good. He didn't break anything. It's just a pain tolerance thing, and the way he's been on social media and the team's going, it looks like he's going to play.
I think if he does play, and again, it seems like he's trending in that direction, I think he's going to be more of a decoy, don't you?
That's too hard to tell for me. At this point of the season, it's almost like all hands on deck. But even if he's a decoy, Tuck, it makes such a difference for them because and this is the thing. Like, you can put him in the backfield. He's lines up as a receiver. You can put him in the slot. He's still going to block even as a decoy. So, like, the pain tolerance thing comes down to not just can you catch the ball, run somebody over. That's the problem with Deebo. He doesn't know how to play like. And Kyle Shanahan said as much. Like, we sometimes just want him to, like, not play so hard. That's why you see his touches sort of get diminished in the early part of the NFL season, the middle of the season, and then start to pick up towards the end of the season to gear him up and get him ready because he just tries to lower his shoulder and run everybody over. That's his playing style. He doesn't know how to just run out of bounds sometimes.
He's one of the most aggressive wideouts or maybe even offensive players out there, really.
Yeah. So that's big for them. And the fact that he's going to play, just a quick stat, the Action Network had this up, and I had no doubt when I saw the stat. It just makes total sense. The 49ers this season, when Deebo Samuel starts and finishes the game, 12-1 straight up, 10-3 against the spread. When Deebo doesn't play or doesn't finish the game, 1-4 straight up, 0-5 against the spread. He means everything to this team. He's their heart and soul. And oh, by the way, the 1-4, the one win last Saturday night against Green Bay. Okay, so like that is that you're seeing, like, when they have to change a game plan on the fly, that's the concern here. So with this line getting over 7.5, and I'll talk about the total in just a minute, but this line now has gotten over 7. No play for me. I did play it at 6.5, and I don't think that number's coming back because I think with the Deebo news, you're only going to see it go up. And although you might see it come back down to 7, which that's your choice. But 7's a dangerous number with this Lions team because there's Dan Campbell.
7.5 is dangerous, obviously.
Well, I just mean with Dan Campbell going for 2 all the time, and like, if there's an 8-point game, just like last week with Tampa and the Lions, when Tampa went for 2, Dan Campbell's absolutely doing the same thing. It's the analytics play. But reason I like the over, we got good weather.
Yeah, it's going to be like 73 and sunny, right?
Yeah, so I love that. So I think that is perfect for the 49ers offense with Deebo in there, even if he's a decoy or not, still like their offense to get back on all cylinders, click on all cylinders. Whatever Deebo is able to do, Kyle's going to utilize. So like last week, Deebo was a huge part of that game plan, which immediately gets thrown and like torn to shreds. So forget it. Now you got to adapt and on the fly. The difference here is he's going to script a game plan. And we said it last week. When you asked me last week, again, what game was it? We said Deebo CMC. This week, it's Ayuk CMC. This is an Ayuk game. The secondary for the Lions are they're just not good. And the way they go about this is they try to play physical and hit you hard. Well, guess what? That's what the 49ers do. They want to hit you hard on offense. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. What the Lions don't do, they're the 28th worst team in the league at tackling metrics. And good luck.
Yeah, they need help in the offseason.
When you need this Niners team is so physical, and if you don't wrap up and tackle, you're in for a long night as far as points scored. So that's one thing I really like about the Niners in this game. On the flip side, I think the weather does also help Detroit because Jared Goff outdoors is an absolute nightmare. And this is why the Rams traded him to Detroit to begin with.
I think he's been better this year, even outdoor.
Cold weather, outdoors, travel. Goff is not the guy you want to. He's not the guy that you want.
Yeah, but these are ideal conditions.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I like the Lions. Yeah. I'm saying, like, historically, he's just not good. I mean, look at when he went to Baltimore. It was cold, and it was a nice day, but just a little bit colder in October, and they got beat 38-6. I mean, it's just he is not meant for the outdoors. He's a California kid, so he comes from there. He can deal with this weather. It's good. This is a good thing for Goff to have good weather.
He has the best passer rating amongst playoff quarterbacks, a 111.8 passer rating. He's completing more than 74% of his passes.
Yep. So interesting here. Goff struggles against pressure. We all know this. The Niners are going to try to get there at 4. They're not going to blitz you a ton. They might blitz a little bit more, knowing that's how he operates. But they can get there with 4. And in this line, the guard for Detroit there, I forget his name. I had it written down, and I don't know. It's up.
Johnson, I think.
Yeah, he's out.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, he's out. So any injury to your offensive line, like you got to give the Packers some credit last week. I mean, their offensive line.
Jonah Jackson, Jonah Jackson, guard.
Yes, he's out. So that's a huge loss for them. When you have an offensive line injury against this front 4, like that's a problem. So how well do you block? Another reason I like the over, and I promise I'll pass to you so you can chat a little bit about this game, but the reason I like the over here is I don't trust Dan Campbell. I've said this all year long. I can see Dan Campbell in a situation where it's 14-7 in the first half, and the Lions get the ball on their own 40 or something, and it's 4th and 2, and he goes for it, he gets stuffed, and you're giving them a short field, and then we're off to the races. And that type of situation, I can't trust Dan Campbell to not give the Niners a short field, which they'll absolutely score some points on.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to see some early tomfoolery from Dan Campbell.
I can see it.
We're going to see some weird field position 4th down call. It's going to catch everybody by surprise, and he's going to be overly aggressive this game.
100%. I totally agree with you, but if he gets stopped, that only helps the over. And I think Jared Goff also is going to have a turnover or 2 in this game. Helps the over.
Well, I was going to bring this up in terms of his turnovers. What's he, 3-6 against the 49ers in his career?
Yes.
Anytime touchdown score for the San Francisco 49ers defense, take a guess at what it would be.
Plus 600.
Plus 380.
Is it really that low? See, now that's
I'm not taking that. That's a little too low.
It's not worth it.
No.
It's like betting McCaffrey minus 300 to score a touchdown. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I don't know if that's just, the public has a favoritism towards Goff and his history versus the Niners, and maybe that's some money coming in on that. Mm-hmm. But that's too low for me. But continue.
I just think the weather is a huge factor in this, and I think you're going to see the line go up because I think the Niners are going to get their points. I think they'll be in the 30s, and I think they can win this game in like a 31-21 score, 31-24, something like that. Like we're going to see points in this game. I don't it's just a matter of like how high do we want to go with this. Now, the line is creeping up. We're seeing right now, most books consensus right now is at 51, but we're seeing 51.5. So we're seeing books pop 52s. I think
Circa just went up to 52.
Yeah. So you got to be careful here, but at a certain point, keep trusting your faith. I don't think we're getting 60 here, but I do think the Niners are getting into the 30s in this game. The Lions secondary is an issue.
I wouldn't rule out 60, honestly.
Yeah, maybe. It depends how much the Lions can keep up. That's the game plan for me, because I genuinely believe, and I'm not saying this as a fan, I think the Niners get into the 30s here. That secondary is an issue.
Oh, absolutely it is. I was very close to taking the points for Detroit here. Yeah. 49ers are a touchdown favorite, but they've struggled to cover the spread in recent games. They are 0-6 against the spread in their past 6 home games and have been favored in every home game this season. Mm-hmm. Very interesting there. But ultimately, no play for me, but I just see, this team's going to be all sorts of jacked up. You know it.
Especially
I think
after
they can keep it close.
Dude. After last week was the worst thing that happened for the Lions, in my opinion. Them playing that close game. Because, listen, all year long, another uncomfortable thing as a Niners fan is they weren't in a lot of close games, and if they were, they lost them, right? I mean, we saw Purdy lead them back against Cleveland. Very similar game, as far as the weather was gross. It wasn't his best game by any stretch of the imagination. Let's call it what it is. He wasn't very good, wasn't sharp in the brain. Losing Debo hurt the offense. But one thing as a fan that Purdy did again that he did do in Cleveland was he led them down the field with a chance to win the game. This time he stuck a touchdown on.
That throw to Jennings was unbelievable.
Insane. The throw to Ayuk on the third down.
What was that, third and 12?
Third and 9, I think it was. And then it was
unbelievable throw.
But then there was an even better throw, or just as good of a throw, was the play to Ayuk on 3rd and 5 after Kittle dropped the pass. He was 6 of 7 on the final drive, and the one ball was right in Kittle's chest, and he dropped it. And the next play, he comes up, and Ayuk makes an insane catch, an inch off the ground, but it was an insane throw. Ayuk was very covered.
Yeah.
So, as a 49ers fan, that's what I wanted to see from Purdy to take his next step. You're not playing your best game, but you still go down and you scored a touchdown. Because the last time he led them down with no Debo in Cleveland when he got hurt in that game, and Jake Moody missed the field goal that could have won the game for them. So, I like what I'm seeing out of Purdy late. It's just a matter of that game was a little too close for comfort for me, so I know how the players feel.
Yeah.
It took everything out of them. Green Bay, they're going to be tough. You got to give them their credit. They did it again at the quarterback position. Thank you, Jordan Love, for turning into Brett Favre for a minute and trying to play gunslinger at the end. But man, I think that's the Niners. I think that refocuses you.
If you're Detroit, how do you approach this game? Because for me, I look at what the Packers did last week with Aaron Jones.
Yeah, get her on the ball.
They had a lot of success running the ball early, and I think they'd be dumb not to try that.
Yeah, it's the same concept. You have to run the ball against San Francisco. What they're doing is they're only playing. They're coming at you 4 up front, and that's what I was saying earlier. And that's why that's how to attack. They're playing 2 safety deep, 4 up front, and they're saying beat us.
Yep.
Come run at us, and they're going to trust that their defense in the long run is going to shut you down. Now, Green Bay had crazy success with Aaron Jones. I agree with you, Tuck. If Green Bay kept running the ball instead of falling in love with the passing game in the second half, that was going to be interesting.
That's one of the things that the Packers need to address in the offseason is their backup running back situation because A.J. Dillon is not at. And if they had a capable backup running back there, then maybe we're having a different conversation today.
Yeah.
Because I think the Packers could have easily won that game if they had really continue pounding the run there. But you can only do so much with Aaron Jones in the rain, right?
They got 2 running backs in Detroit that can run the ball. So, I mean, I'd tell you to run with Gibbs more than Montgomery, but that's just me. But we'll see.
It feels like it's a better Montgomery game, especially with he's a better pass blocker, too.
Well, Montgomery is going to be the guy that he's going to play like that Aaron Jones role, where it's like, hey, you're going to play 2 safeties back. We'll just run up the middle and try to get 5 yards.
Yep.
Like, that's Montgomery.
Yep.
You want to creep those safeties up. That's when we come in with Gibbs and try to hit the long play, whether it's swing pass or run.
I read that Gibbs is pretty shitty in pass blocking, so maybe you see him kind of pulled more often than we're accustomed to seeing.
I think he's a passing back in this game.
Yeah. All right, well, that leads me to my best bet, and you kind of alluded to it earlier. Give me Brandon Ayuk, over 80.5 receiving yards. This offense is going to shift Ayuk and target him versus this Detroit secondary for all the reasons you just listed. Just going back into the wild card round, Puka Nacua, 9 catches, 181 yards, and a touchdown last week, divisional round. Mike Evans, 8 catches, 147 yards, and a touchdown versus this Detroit secondary. They play man coverage at a top 10 rate, and this matters because Brandon Ayuk earns 23% more yards against man coverage this season. I think they're going to focus in and try and take away George Kittle. They have had success against opposing tight ends. They are averaging 55.3 receiving yards per game, which is ranked 7th best in terms of pass coverage against tight ends. The average tight end performance against this Lions secondary has been 29 yards. So I think this screams Brandon Ayuk game between that success against opposing tight ends and the status of Deebo Samuel there. So give me the best bet, Brandon Ayuk, over 80.5 receiving yards. And I'm also sprinkling very much an anytime touchdown minus 120. I cannot reiterate this enough. Brandon Ayuk is going to go off on Sunday.
I fully agree. I think he's the guy on offense. I would be stunned if it's not a CMC Ayuk game.
Do you think that this Niners defense can stifle Amon-Ra St. Brown? Because they have had issues all year in terms of going up against wideouts like Amon-Ra.
Depends. I think part of their strategy is like they let the number 1 receivers kind of get theirs. They've done this for years. It kind of drives you crazy, but they play a little bend but don't break with the number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
It's like they try not to give you the big play. Like, don't get me wrong, you're not going to throw 70-yard touchdowns on them all year and be like, oh, well, let them get what they want. It's just a matter of like they'll give you the routes, and Amon St. Brown's going to get his catches. There's no question about it in this game.
I just feel like they're going to try and focus in on him, number 1 priority there. Maybe I'm wrong on that, and that'll leave to better pass catching abilities from or opportunities from Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs, which leads me to my final like here. I think it's way too low here. Sam Laporta, over 47.5 receiving yards. Another like for me there. I'm seeing that at 48.5. I'm fine with that too. I mean, Laporta is just an unbelievable rookie, and he's really more of a wideout than he is a tight end. I mean, he's been phenomenal. Banged up, and he's still putting up numbers. He surpassed this total 10 times this season. I just think it's too low in what we think is going to be a high-scoring matchup. I'll keep it as simple as that. Sam Laporta over 47.5 receiving yards.
Statistically, he's been the best tight end in football. So, I mean...
Yeah, he's a stud.
He is good. The one thing with the knee, I know he got up limping a few times, but then a couple plays later, he's running full speed down the field, playing like a maniac. He's an Iowa tight end like Kittle, so they built differently there. So, can't argue with that. I think Laporta is the guy that gets his more than... I think they'll catch their passes. I think the yards, Laporta, be interesting because I don't think they're going to put a guy like Fred Warner on Laporta because I think they're going to use Fred Warner in this game to support the run. So that's where I think they can create some matchups there with Laporta.
Anytime scorer for Sam Laporta, by the way, is plus 150. I like that. I like that a lot.
Nice little sprinkle.
All right, so that's it for my likes. Anything else for you?
I get two other official likes.
Oh, that's right.
In this game.
Yes.
First and foremost, let's start with the one that was very close to being my best bet. If it's not my best bet, it's pretty much tied. There's maybe a slight like less. So it's a like. But it's Jahmyr Gibbs over 21.5 receiving yards.
That's low, huh?
Plays for the over, and I think Detroit's going to be playing from behind, and when that happens, I think you're going to see more Gibbs, and that's just the way it goes. So like when you're up, I think you play Montgomery. So when I play this the way I'm playing it, and I'm going to support the over, I'm going to support the Niners. This to me feels too low. I think Gibbs comes out, catches the ball. They're going to use him in the passing game in a similar way that the Niners are going to use McCaffrey. I think he's just there. He's going to be the passing guy. I think he's going to get more snaps by default because I think they're going to be down. So, love this play. I can't stress enough that if this game goes the way I think it's going to go, I think this is an easy number to hit here because he could do this on one catch. The kid's electric.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
Takes one swing pass, you make one guy miss, and then he's off. So, I mean, I think that's a strong play for me. Gibbs over 21.5 receiving yards. The other play that I have, get this on FanDuel right now. Don't bet this on DraftKings because I did. Not as good.
I did.
You did.
Because I feel confident in it.
Okay, but you're getting shittier odds.
Yeah.
That's why
I know. I still took it. Fuck me, right?
Yeah, fuck you. Hey, I like it. Christian McCaffrey, 2+ touchdowns, plus 165 on FanDuel right at this very moment. I love this play. I think he is the guy. He's got a nose for the end zone. When in doubt, get the ball to CMC. They finally turn their offense on by getting Christian McCaffrey the ball against Green Bay. So, hey, Kyle, don't forget that you have Christian McCaffrey this week. I think sometimes you forgot a little bit last week. I know you can't give him the ball every time, but let's get him going.
Okay, so what was going on with the whole calf thigh thing?
He's had that injury since he did that in week 17. That's why they get in the Washington game. He got hurt mid-game, and then he's been he's fine, but he's just nursing it.
As a somebody who played him in DFS, and again, he paid off. But I was sweating it early because. And I was just like, you know what? This guy's had 2 weeks off, and he's working on his calf. Whatever. I'm not an athlete.
It's kind of like a hamstring thing.
Yeah. It's just like a recurring thing. It's just frustrating.
He's going to deal with it, but on the field, didn't show any signs to me that he had suffering from it. I think he's probably battling through it at this point, and he'll be fine. But he's just the guy's friggin' insane. I mean, and you can't just bet one touchdown. I mean, I'm not advising anyone to lay 300 to win $100. That's crazy. So we're not going to lie to that. We're going to pick the 2 touchdowns, which is going to happen in this game. Might catch one in the air. He might run into. I don't care how it happens. He's getting 2 touchdowns. So plus 165 at FanDuel. Don't be like Tucker and get 130 over a draft.
You know what? I like it, so I'm taking it. It's plus money. I know it's a bit worse odds, but hey. How many times has he scored 2+ touchdowns?
Tucker refuses to listen to me about using multiple books.
I only use one book because that's where my bankroll is. Now, I could, remove said bankroll and
take some
spread
funds.
it. No, I won't. I don't want to do it. It's too much work. I don't want to do it. It's too much work.
Yeah, but before I place bets, I'm like a psychopath looking at all these charts and seeing what number's best and...
Yeah,
fine. But
actually, that's not a bad idea. I probably should spread it.
I mean, you get more money if it happens. The people listening
I
will
can't
be
keep
betting
track
at
of all of
FanDuel.
it like
I know.
you. I hate spreadsheets.
But
honest to God.
you get more money when it hits.
Yeah.
If it doesn't hit, you lost the same amount of money.
I
So,
guess.
Look at it that way. So I like that.
Any like sneaky long shot?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, long shot. Okay, no.
Well, what's your definition of sneaky?
Well, sneaky, I was going to say another prop that I like, but I did not official like. But I'm playing it.
Yeah, give it out.
Brock Purdy, longest pass over 40.5 yards. And this plays to
Really?
Brandon Ayuk because I think they're going to take shots in this game. I think that they're going to take some deep shots in this game.
Take the top off.
Take the top off the defense because what's going to happen, the Lions do play the run well, though this is a different animal in the San Francisco offense. So we'll see how they do well there. But in order to take off some pressure, send the boys deep. Send them deep. I'm looking for an Ayuk long one here.
He's got the highest total on the board.
Yep, and I think it's going to hit. So I think he has a pass that goes over 40.5 yards. Their average pass, people want to shit on Purdy, and I don't care anymore. The media, all these guys don't want to give him credit. They want to say he's not good, and I don't care because you know what? 2 years in the league, as a rookie last year, comes in midway through the year, unblemished the rest of the year until he gets hurt in the NFC Championship, but he took him to the NFC Championship. And this year starts from day one and took him to the NFC Championship. So you know what? All the media, all the people that like to chirp, I just don't care. I don't even want to have the conversation anymore. Like, to me, he wins. The kid's good. Like, I've seen his good games. He has bad games too, sure. But, like, he makes this offense better. And I don't care how many stars they have. He's taken this offense to another level.
I will say that, and this kind of speaks to, I like Purdy.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I like Purdy. But there is a little bit of element of tight butt cheeks. You're seeing that over the past 3-4 weeks out of Purdy. Maybe, you know, the biggest thing that stood out was the Ravens game. I mean, that was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, that different animal, though. And honestly, I've watched that game too many times to admit, but like in all seriousness, I really think he had one bad interception. It was the first one. You got to credit the Ravens for the way they played in that game. I mean, they made some freak interceptions, tipping the ball up, guys diving all over the field, Kyle Hamilton. I mean, they played him well. They got in throwing lanes, but he also makes some passes that you're like, wow, like the pass to Jennings last week, the pass to Ayuk, like.
Now, there were, I started to feel that similar way last week when we started to see, this might not happen for the Niners. But he made that ballsy throw, and he delivered at the end of the day. It's as simple as that. Brock Purdy is legit.
I mean, the weapons don't hurt, but I mean, did Peyton Manning have shitty teams? Is he playing without? Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne and Dallas
weapons
Clark
argument,
like why?
Please.
It's ridiculous. Like, everybody has good weapons and you're a good quarterback, and you have guys that succeed. Like Mahomes doesn't have the greatest weapons. He's got Travis Kelce, arguably one of the greatest tight ends of all time. Tom Brady, as bad as some of his receivers were, had Rob Gronkowski or Aaron Hernandez.
Well, 2006 was abysmal.
No, I know, but my point is, he
had no one.
And that's the point. Like, yes, you're going to have the rear guys that can play with no one and elevate you. But, even Brady in Tampa had Godwin, Evans, brought Gronk with him. I mean, these guys have weapons. So,
you have to make the reads, and you have to deliver the ball.
That's where Purdy is strong. His mind, he knows where to put the ball. What Green Bay did well, they got on him. They pressured him. They got to his actual body as he's throwing. They're hitting his arm. It was rain. I mean, he didn't play a great game, but when they needed him, they had him. I think this game's going to be different. Like the Niners here, I'm not laying 7.5 or advising that, but 6.5 I got. I'm happy about it.
All right. Well, I think we pretty much covered it all, right?
That's about it. Yeah, I guess we'll go to the Super Bowl. No show next week because we're going to do the 2 weeks.
We'll take the week off
and then do the second week, and we're going to have a fun show.
We're going to have a fun show. I have a lot of props on that one, and I have a very strong feeling we're going to be talking about the Niners and Ravens. It's a rematch of Week 16 or whatever it was. 15.
My heart feels so.
Where's the game?
Vegas. Want to go?
Oh, that's you shit me, dude. I'd love to go.
Let's go. That's fine. We can go. I'll tell you what. If the Niners go, I might go. I might go.
Can you talk to Big Night Live and have them send us to Vegas?
Yeah,
do you think they'd
we
mind?
could do that early, right?
That. Yeah.
I'm sure we could do that.
We'll expense it.
Can you do that?
Yeah. As long as you take me with you.
Well, yeah,
need a
you're a
producer.
producer.
You're coming,
You have
dude.
to
You're
go.
a part of
All
it.
right, yeah. I'll put in the word.
He's not going to fucking put in the word, is he?
He's putting in the word. I know Hurley will
No,
put in
he's
the
not.
word. He's going to do it. I'll tell you what. I already warned my wife, your sister, that if the Niners
Listen,
win,
have you seen
am
these
going
studios?
to Vegas.
Have you seen these studios?
Yeah,
I think they can send us to Vegas.
I'm thinking so too. Get
Just
some
saying,
money
Big
in the
Night.
background.
I'm just Big Night. I'm just saying, you can send us to Vegas.
If you want to, it would be very kind.
Radio Row, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Radio,
Or even
Radio Row.
or even a Marriott conference room.
Take a hotel in like anywhere in Nevada. Just walk there. Be great. I might go. I already told Ash. I might go. If they win, I might go.
Listen, I mean, if money wasn't a factor,
Money's not no factor for us. All the best bets we hit this year.
Money's a factor for me.
Let's cash in the best bets and we're going.
That would be nice. It would be nice. Thank you, Big Night, for expensing our Vegas trip in advance. Appreciate that. And our flights.
Would love that.
And our food and beverage.
Now we're getting greedy.
Does Big Night have, and do you have a gig out in Vegas, Hurley?
Yeah, there we go,
Oh, I'd
Hurley.
love to find one,
Yeah, there we go. Think about this.
Get
Hurley.
on
This
that.
could be on it. We could get you a gig
Nothing's
out there.
been booked yet in Vegas.
I'm sure people are
for
like,
Super Bowl week,
yeah.
which is in 3 weeks. Nothing has been booked.
The Niners might throw a party that they need a DJ, Hurley, so we can get you out there.
Yeah, there are available venues.
There we go.
Nothing
Perfect.
whatsoever
Things are wide
has been taken.
Things are wide open.
We can make that work.
Let's
All right.
manifest. We make it happen.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Just a quick recap. Best bets for me: Brandon Ayuk over 80.5 receiving yards. Matt, Baltimore -3.5. Likes for me: Chiefs Ravens under 44.5. Sam Laporta over 47.5. Baltimore, my other like is -3.5. Agreeing with Matt there. Matt's like San Francisco, Detroit over 51. Gibbs over 21.5 receiving yards, and CMC two touchdowns plus 165 on FanDuel. Did I miss anything?
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening all season, and good luck this weekend. We're going to bounce back. I have a good feeling about it. If not, then I don't know what to tell you.
8-0. 8-0.
We would be... it would be a very nice note to end the season on.
8-0.
With
going 8-0.
0 losses, wouldn't it?
I'm looking at this card and I don't see any losers.
All right. That's going to do it for us. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Hurley, and thank you, Big Night Live, again, for our Vegas trip to the Super Bowl. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And good luck, everybody. We'll see you.
Thanks, everybody.